Hey everybody, Dimple here, welcoming you all to my next session on Android audio series. Last session we saw some of the basic Android terminologies, audio terminologies which we should know. In today's session we will learn about the audio architecture in Android. I will take real world examples and each layer we will go through what is the functionality and responsibility of each layer. So in this video, we will see how sound actually travels inside a device from the application layer all the way down to the speakers and headphones. We'll take an example of my phone acting as a big music factory, and we will break that factory into each layers, and I'll show what each layer does using a simple real world example. Okay, so let's get started. Here is the application framework layer. So before framework layer, there is application layer. What exactly this app layer does? This app layer involves the music player or game you need to install and use. We can take an example of music player application. Okay, and if I want to show with a real world example, I already told you all my phone is acting like a music factory. So this application layer will be like a front office of music factory, the store where customer walks in, picks up a song and presses play or pause. The app does not make the sound itself, it just asks the rest of the factory to do the work. Okay, so it's like the front office. Application layer is like the front office. I just enter and I just play some song. Now, from that application layer, the control goes to application framework layer. Okay, so each of the layers we will see in detail in my next slides. Framework layer will communicate with a native framework using JNI, and native framework will communicate with media server using binder IPC. From media server, we communicate through Linux kernel using HAL. Okay, so these are the different mechanisms we use. Let's go through each one of them. I already told about app layer. App layer is any small application where we try to play or record some audio. It's like a front office of my music factory. Next, from the app layer, the control goes to application framework layer. So framework layer lies here and it includes everything about Android.media package. All the APIs which the framework layer in audio uses is present in Android.media package. And application framework includes the application code, and this app code uses Android.media APIs to communicate with the audio hardware. So all the APIs which this framework uses are present in Android.media. For example, voice recorder application, so and so. So the APIs from Android.media package can be set for managing audio files or streaming audio from a remote source. Okay, so all the APIs which we write in our application to record or to play audio, we use from this application framework. So from the Android app, the request has been sent to the framework layer. The duty of this layer is to provide top level services to the applications. The top level services are in the form of Java classes. Okay, so this will include media player application, media recorder application, all of those stuff. And high level system APIs like audio track, media player, audio manager, all of them are part of application framework. And if I want to explain with the music factory example, I told the app layer is like the front office and this framework layer is like order management system in the factory. The front desk person will fill out the form, for example, play this MP3 at this particular volume, okay, to these headphones. The framework, what it will do, it will check if this is allowed, is the phone in silent mode, who has the audio focus, then it will send clean and structured order deeper into the factory. So my application layer will just command, hey, play that song for me with this particular music through my Bluetooth headphones. App framework layer will check many parameters. Okay, if the phone is in silent mode, where should I send the audio? All these things it will check and it will send to the lowermost layer. So this application framework layer, it has to communicate with the native framework. Okay, whatever APIs are there in this application layer, the same APIs are there in the framework layer also. The only difference is because the lower hardware layers will understand only the C languages. Native framework is written in C++, but my application framework is written in Java. So how these two will communicate? These two will communicate through JNI. So let's see what JNI does here. So Java native interface, it defines the way for the managed code to interact with the native code. Okay, GNI is just like a bridge. In Android applications, we need to use C++ library. So to interact with it directly from Java code, native interface is used. Okay, so the lower layers, the hardware will not understand the Java whatever we write. So that's why all the lower layers of code is written in C or C++, and the framework part is written in Java. So to make them understand this, they have to be converted. The code has to be converted to C or C++, right? So that conversion is happening with the help of Java native interface. So from the app framework, the requests are going to native media player with the help of JNI. So the JNI will connect the application framework with its C++ implementation. For example, all the application framework we write in Java. So this JNI will help in converting this Java written program to a given C++ implementation which are present in native media player. If I have some function like stop playing, okay, this is one function example I'm giving, stop playing. If that function is there in my framework layer, same function will be there in my native layer also. Okay, but the only difference is it's written in C++. So this is like a bridge between Java Kotlin code, okay, which is nothing but my app or framework layer, and the native C++ code, which is the lower layers. And JNI acts like a translator or interpreter in a factory. The front office speaks human language A, for example. For example, they are speaking language A, which is Java, and the factory machine will speak human language B, which is C++. Machines can understand only C++. The translator makes sure that the order is understood correctly on both the sides. The customer wants this song at this particular volume. That was the order, right? And all the JNI files you can find in framework base core JNI or framework base media JNI. So if we go to this path in the Android source code, we will find all the JNI related. So I hope it's clear till now. App layer we saw, framework layer we saw, and next layer is actually a native framework. But native framework and my application framework, how they will communicate? They will communicate through JNI. And our next layer is native framework. So whatever APIs are there in my application framework will be there in my native framework. Only languages are different. Okay. Native framework will provide native equivalent to Android.media package. So usually called native APIs are placed in audio track, audio record, C++ files. The duty of these APIs is to instantiate separate object, okay, which associated with each media file. It gives the request to the media server with the help of IPC. So you can find all the native framework related code in this particular folder libmedia, which is present in framework AV media libmedia. Got it? Native C or C++ libraries that actually handle audio mixing, decoding, resampling, etc. All of them are present in this native framework part. Okay, all the system libraries, everything will be part of this native framework. This is like the production control room. Okay, we saw app layer as the front office. Then we saw application framework layer like the order management system, and JNI will act like a translator. And this native framework is like the control room inside a factory. Okay, it manages how different sounds and songs are processed and how they are mixed. Example, your music app, your notification sound, game sound, all are playing at once. The control room decides how to mix them into one clean audio stream. Next, this native framework, I'll go back to my diagram. This native framework has to communicate with the media server, but how will it communicate? With the help of binder IPC. So let's see what is this binder IPC. So, binder IPC proxies are responsible for facilitating the process of communication. That is the communication between native player, or we can say native framework, and the media server. Okay, so media server player. All these binder IPC proxies are present in this particular location, and they are begin with letter I. Framework, AV, media, lib media. All these files are starting with letter I. So what is this binder IPC mechanism in Android? Most of you all will be already knowing, but let me brief it. So this mechanism helps in allowing application framework layer to cross process boundaries and call into Android system services code. Okay, it will help you to enable high level framework APIs to communicate with Android system services. System services will be in the lower layers. So usually what happens, Android apps run in their own space, which is called as process space. Android apps cannot access the underlying hardware or system resources directly. So in this case, Android app needs to talk to system services with the help of binder IPC to access the underlying hardware or system resources. Okay, in order to access the underlying hardware or system resources, it has to use this binder IPC. The communication channel that lets different processes talk securely is nothing but the binder IPC. And it's like the internal phone lines or a secure conveyor belt inside the factory. If I take my factory example, this binder IPC is like the internal phone lines. The front office, the control room, and other departments are different rooms or processes. Okay, there are different processes. Binder is the phone system that carries orders between them reliably and safely. So there are multiple processes in my Android system, and binder is the one who will help to communicate from one process to another process. I hope it's clear. Let's move on to media server. So media server is the very important part in my entire audio architecture. This is having the important stuffs or the important components who is responsible for the actual audio generation. So this media server will include audio policy service and audio flinger service, which are again very important concepts when it comes to Android audio. So that's why these two topics I will elaborate a bit more on what exactly are the roles and responsibility of these components in my next video. In this video, for now, we will see and understand what is media server. That's it. So instantiation of media player service subsystem involves creation of media player service object. So once the media server player is ready, once it is up and running, and once it receives request from the native media player, a new media player service client is created for each request that manipulates the media. So from my native media, let me go back to my diagram. From my native media player, whatever from your native framework, whatever instructions I receive, that instructions is reaching media server, and for each request a new object will be generated at my media server. So a system service handling audio and media running in the background. So this media service is responsible for both audio and video. This is the central production hub of the factory. It's like the heart of the Android architecture. And if we take our factory example, it's like the central production hub of the factory. All audio jobs arrive here, decoding music files, managing outputs, whether the output should go to phone speaker or BT or USB. All that thing is handled here, controlling volume, applying effects. It manages the machines, schedules works, and keep everything in sync. So the main job of media server is to make sure everything is in sync. After media player, now media server, now we have to talk to kernel, but media server cannot directly talk to kernel. So the calls or the request go through HAL to the kernel. So HAL is a hardware abstraction layer. It characterizes the classic interface on which audio services depend. Hardware manufacturers or vendors must implement this interface for audio hardware to function correctly. Okay. So Android's audio HAL is responsible to connect the top level sound specific frameworks related to methods. So related to all the APIs or methods which are available in Android.media, those are connected to the elemental audio related driver and hardware. So from see we know we write applications using APIs which are present in this particular path, right? And those APIs which are in this path are connected to the underlying hardware and the drivers with the help of this HAL. So HAL is nothing but it's the standard interface between media server and the actual audio hardware drivers. So if I again go back to my example of the factory example, HAL is like a machine operator control panel. Machine operator control panel. The production hub does not directly deal with every screw and belt of every machine, correct? Instead, it uses standard set of buttons, start, stop, set, volume, example. Okay. Each factory machine means what? Your different audio chips from different vendors. Looks the same from the control panel, even though internally they are different. I hope you understood that. Let's move on to kernel. So kernel is the lowermost layer and it is the brain of the Android architecture. Be it audio architecture or the entire Android architecture, kernel is the brain. It controls all the accessible drivers. There are many drivers, all the hardware drivers which are Bluetooth, memory, display, audio, camera, all are there as part of kernel. Okay. It also gives an abstraction layer between the device hardware and the additional components of Android architecture. This abstraction layer is responsible for management of multiple things, power, memory, devices, etc. So kernel consists of audio driver that interacts with audio hardware and HAL implementation, and the common audio drivers like ALSA, OSS or custom drivers can be used. We already saw what is ALSA, OSS is in my previous session. The core of this OS that talks directly to the hardware via drivers. This is the factory floor. When it comes to our example, this is the factory floor where the live. Physical machines live. Mixers, speakers, printers, etc. The kernel drivers actually move the bits that become sound, sending audio or samples to digital to analog converter, which become electrical signal and finally sound from the speaker. So all the digital to analog conversions, which will become signals, electrical signals, and finally those signals will come as a sound from the speakers. And this kernel also handles all the timings and it prioritizes and making sure the audio data is delivered on time without any glitches. All of that part is done by the kernel. Okay, so I hope you all understood the Android audio architecture. I tried to explain this in a very simplest format by giving the example of my mobile phone acting as a music factory where my application layer will be like the front office, my framework layer will be like the order management system. It just takes the orders, and my JNI will act like a translator. So to the people inside the factory, the reception person will tell this is the order so and so. It translates to the person inside the factory, and my native framework layer acts like the production control room. It is the control room, and my binder IPC will act like the internal phone lines. Media server will do the main production job. It is the central production hub. HAL will act like the control panel, and my kernel is the one where actual physical machines are resting. So I hope this was clear. If any doubts, please drop a comment and I'll reply back to you all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon in my next session where I explain about audio flinger, audio policy manager, and stage fright in detail. Thanks. Bye bye. Dimple signing off.